Hello there. Thanks for tuning into Adjucana, the Advanced Racing Analysis. And this is my review of the British Grand Prix. I would say the result was expected, but it was, we reached that result a lot more entertainingly than expected. So the way we got to that result was a lot more entertaining than expected. So which is always good because entertainment is what the sport is all about. It's what any sport is all about. So especially like with the tire blowouts, it was entertaining. But I don't know how Pirelli feels about this. It's entertaining to watch, but you don't want to sell a product and then the best commercial for your product is that it's failing. I don't see how that goes. I remember Bernie Ecclestone. I remember the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix. I remember there was a lot of tire blowout, a lot of tire degradation, and then apparently he instructed Pirelli to make uh, um, less lasting tires, shorter lasting tires. So that's why Pirelli tires um, have a lot of degradation because it makes for more entertainment. But I'm not sure if I mean, it makes Formula One entertaining, but what does that say about Pirelli? Considering that when you watch Le Mans or WC or IMSA, the Michelins go for a long time, especially at Le Mans, the Michelins can go for a long time um, before they ever have to change. So I don't know. I'm not sure if this is a good advertisement for Pirelli or not. I mean, I wonder have their sales increased. I like to know. I guess there's something I need to look at to see if their sales have increased, and even their sales have increased, what brand of tires are they selling more of the P zeros, the performance tires, or just the lower end tires? So I like to know, but I'm wondering if it's good for them. But for the next race, entertainment or not, I don't think it looks good when tires are blown out. If the race could be decided with tires getting blown out, I don't think it's ever good that way. I don't think it's a good thing. Um, okay, so to the race. Alex Albon, I'm sure now he got a taste of his own medicine, especially since he was criticizing Lewis Hamilton for taking him out of uh, um, the Austrian Grand Prix. So I'm sure he feels the same way now because he did the same thing to Kevin Magnussen. Yeah, I mean, and he only got a 5-second penalty as well, just like Lewis Hamilton. So very consistent. But Lewis Hamilton, when he did that, Lewis Hamilton was higher up the grid, but him, but okay, but I guess it's the same thing. So pretty much. And for Alpha Tauri, formerly Scuderia Toro Rosso, this year, I'm not sure if there has been any talks, but the results this year could dictate whether one of them gets replaced or not. Because usually no one stays at Toro Rosso, well, Alpha Tauri for this long. So I'm not sure if one of them could be gone at the end of this year. So it's possibly somebody could be gone. So this is something to watch out for. The results could count. So the result could say something. So Daniil Kvyat coming out taking himself out of the race. Well, he thinks he made a mistake, but every announcer thinks that is the car that had an issue, that the tire went flat. So, but either way, if he thinks he made a mistake, maybe he was also distracted. So that's what it looks like. I'm sure Helmut Marko is watching, and I wonder if he's planning to take out somebody who he have. But right now, Red Bull doesn't really have anyone to put in his spot because they don't have anyone with a super license, unless their young drivers do well in the junior category so far. So I guess that's the only thing I will say. And also, Renault, they have such a strong showing, 4th and 6th place. That's just amazing. I mean, not amazing. I mean, it's a good for a mid-pack team, but for Renault, factory team, 4th and 6th is kind of like, that's pretty much expected because I'm sure they were expecting a podium. They were hoping that somebody else would drop out and then they could get a podium. But okay, they have such a strong showing for Renault overall, but they have also been plagued by protests against other teams. So I think last year or a couple years ago, they had a protest against Haas, and this year they're having a protest against Racing Point. So Yeah, so it seems like this is one of the strategies. So the only thing I could think of is because Alain Prost is one of their advisors, and during his career, he made a point of doing that. That was part of his game as being the professor, because he didn't just use his driving to do the talking, he also used his knowledge and to try to get other people. So he famously got Ayrton Senna disqualified from the Japanese Grand Prix, and that pretty much handed him the championship. I can't remember what year that was, but yeah. So Alain Prost, Senna got disqualified, and Alain Prost got the championship. So I'm sure he's behind all of this. Him being an advisor to the team, I pretty much think that he's behind all the protests going on, because he pretty much telling the team that, look, we need to use all of our resources, everything in our bag of tricks to get to the top. That's it. If it means like getting another team disqualified, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And now they are pulling in Mercedes as well, so Mercedes will have to answer some questions, because Mercedes is providing support to Racing Point, and Racing Point also uses Mercedes' wind tunnel. So maybe they want to imply that Mercedes knowingly gave some of their data to Racing Point to get Racing Point another Mercedes car off the grid to push back competitors. So I think that's where this is all getting to. So we'll see how it works out. I think they're supposed to have a verdict by the end of this week, before the next race at least. So we'll see how it goes. So Red Bull could have won the race. They didn't win it. So is it their fault? Yes, because even then I actually thought that I couldn't believe that they pitted him, because I actually thought maybe Mercedes might pit Lewis Hamilton. So I didn't think Red Bull would pit Max Verstappen, or maybe they thought that okay, they would just want to protect their lead as well. But they did gain second place because he was third and then he became second. So they did gain instead of losing it all. So we have to look at that counter argument. But they could have won it all as well. That could have been the only race of the season that another team has won, because Mercedes is just so strong, so they might not lose another race unless something like this happens, or unless they make a mistake or take each other out. Red Bull usually good on strategy, so we can't really fault them. Maybe they saw something the rest of us didn't see. Even though we see that they could have won it, everybody saw that they could have won it, but they maybe, they gained something instead of losing it all. So that's the way we have to look at it. But a victory is a victory, so a victory makes a big difference, so we'll see. So in McLaren, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. So far with Carlos Sainz was leading Lando Norris, so they were 5th and 6th. But Carlos Sainz's tire blew out, and he was out of the race pretty much. And Lando Norris stayed in the race, and he was 5th. He inherited Carlos Sainz's race. So right now he's leading Carlos Sainz in the standings. So the team has a choice to make. Given that Carlos Sainz is moving on to Ferrari, you don't want to start giving him all the information now. Because you have someone almost as good as him. So in pure, let's say, racing term, in pure competition term, you would say that Lando Norris managed his tire better. That's why his tires lasted till the end of the race. And Carlos Sainz did not manage his tire well enough. That's why he was out of the race. So you could say that it was his fault that he was out of the race. So now that Lando Norris is leading the team into the standings, you would say that he's a better driver because he's managing his tire better. He's doing everything he needs to. And so far, he's the only one. He's the only one who has scored a podium. And last year it was they have both been gifted podiums by Lewis Hamilton. I guess he wants to be nice to his old team, so that's why he's doing it. I guess so. So far he's still the only one with a podium. So the team has to choice to make. They need to start favoring Lando Norris, in my opinion. It will make him a stronger driver, and you don't want to give all the information to a driver who's going to be leaving you, because he's going to tell all the information to the other team. And so you don't want to do that. Meanwhile, you want to strengthen the driver you currently have. So that's something I think they need to do. And Haas, it felt so good watching Romain Grosjean at the front. And I'm sure he felt the pressure. I'm sure he knows what he needs to do. He knows that the team is underperforming, so that's why he felt that he had to make those dirty moves, those sketchy moves, as Daniil Ricciardo says. but he has to do what he has to do. So I'm sure he knows that, and that's what he's doing. But the team could be so much better. We all know how they started, how they came in their first year, second year. We all know how they did. So they should be so much further. They shouldn't have been in this position where they're just an also ran team where they're barely scoring any points. So, but okay, I would say it's a team's fault. It's a team's fault. They have not maximized all their potential. So the drivers have had issues, and the team did not manage to. They should replace one of them. It will make the other driver. They should replace one of the drivers, just like they took out Esteban Gutierrez. Okay, so one of the drivers should be replaced maybe a year or two ago, and the team principal. So they need to look at all that, and I don't think they maximize everything in the toolbox. You need to replace parts. That's how Formula 1 is all about. It keeps people performing and people on their toes. So they just didn't manage to do that. So there's talks of them possibly leaving the sport. So that's a shame because I'm rooting for them. I'm sure every Formula 1 fan in the US is rooting for them. So it'll be a shame. Hopefully they stay there and make some sense. Hopefully they stay there and make some changes, and we do see them better. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Please like and subscribe and comment. Thanks a lot.